The background to this is that for years and years, my friends in the GQRP club, and I put them up to it, were saying to my wife, you must go to Dayton, Ohio. You must let him go to Dayton, Ohio. And we couldn't afford it and all the rest of it. And I didn't want to go without her, and I thought, you know, she'll buy something expensive if I go. As long as it's for me, it'll be all right. And sadly, she succumbed to cancer in 2017 in November, and I thought, I've got to do something to get out of this house. And I thought, Dayton, Ohio's got to get it. And what happened from there is that it's best to go with somebody that knows the ropes, you know, knows what they're doing. And GQRP Club, lots of the members go. And now, it's in May every year. And to tell you how big it was, the attendance figures are nearly 36,000. Right, so that's the starting point. So I thought, I just don't know what to do. And they said, well, there's a QRP convention. It's called 4 Days in May. You'll have heard of it, Martin. And we take over a hotel. As soon as they announce the bookings for that, try and get a booking. Well, you just couldn't get a booking. All the hotels in the Dayton area are taken over by groups, 160 meters, DX clubs, data guys, computer guys, all these various special interest groups. And I managed to get a room share with a guy called Dennis. And Dennis said he'd share with me. And Dennis, it was the guy that owned Kanga before Paul that has it now. And Dennis was a rather unusual character, ex-military, and his fuse was quite short. But fortunately I'm a calm person. So we flew out together from Manchester. We got grounded in New York because a storm was sweeping through America, and we had to find a room. And we were told to go to the Hilton, and they had special rates. We got there, and all the special rates were magically gone. And it was $300 for a room, and Dennis nearly blew a fuse, and I shut him up and I paid for it. And we didn't even get breakfast for that, by the way. We were out for the plane and back on this circular railway thing and away. And we flew from New York to Dayton. Now, it doesn't inspire with confidence when you see the Wright brothers truck. You know, you think, where's the biplane? What I don't realise that Wright, the name Wright, is as common as Smith. And there are Wright dentists, Wright litigators, Wright realtors, which is an estate agent. Everything is Wright out there. But I thought I couldn't resist that picture to start with. So that's the scenario. And these are a little bit dark at the minute, but these are, this is the hotel where all the QRPers from all over the world gather for 4 days. And this guy is quite a character. He leads the whole thing, and he's a lawyer from the Bronx, and he speaks like it. And there's no politeness. He's verging on rude at the moment. Most of the time. We take it as rude, but he sees it as normal. I certainly wouldn't want him to be a prosecutor and me in court. And this is the sort of thing you get to see. People familiar with the QCX transceiver? Yeah, well, Hans Sommer. This is the sort of talk you get. I'm sorry, these are not particularly good. That is Hans, who I've known for a long number of time. And he lives in Turkey. He's got links in Japan and China. His wife's Turkish, but they met out in Japan, I believe, and he gets all his kits assembled by a Chinese lady back in China and shipped to him. All he does is take the orders. But he's a very clever designer. That's the apprentice. That's his workshop back in Turkey. Yeah, you get some wacky stuff as well at these conventions. That's supposedly a portable aerial. I think it's more like double glazing to me, but Stuart Bryant down there on the right. Well, it's the first time I met him. He's the retired president of the RSGB, so you can tell people come from all over the world. We'll just skip through these. Now, be prepared for a forest of mobile antennas. This is a small one. This is in the car park outside, in a sedan. K6 Victor Whiskey Echo, there you go. Because you can put what you like on the back number plate. And the antennas are everywhere. So are the chickens and the ducks, by the way. Look at this photograph. Yeah, anything to track. This is just QRP. This is just QRP Club. It's absolutely, amazing. And all the QRP clubs from all the regions have their own stands. There's bits to buy. It's every night in this room. Show and tell and all that sort of business, and a build-a-thon. I'll just skip through these.
Not too vast, Richard.
Sorry?
Not too fast.
Well, there's another 400 to go.
Nice focus on it.
We haven't got to Dayton yet.
Yeah, I recognised a couple of people in there.
Play the video back on slow motion, it'll be fun.
Yeah, there were lots of people that made loops for some reason out there. Sorry, if I go too slow now, you'll get bored later. You see. This couple here were Kanga USA. Sadly, the man on the right has since died, I believe, and the Kanga don't have a rep in America. That little LED thing with the chip was a freebie giveaway that they were giving people. That's Dennis.
Yeah, I recognise him.
Yeah, well, that's Dennis.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. And if you get him laughing, he's fantastic. But he didn't have much time for concierges and people jobs was behind desks. He's guarded Buckingham Palace. He's been working Secret Service and all the rest of it, and seen action. And he's very tall. Oh, a loop. Hans signing people up. That particular visit. Alex loop. I did the Alex loop a review not long ago. Very expensive. Unfortunately, Alex has now passed away. It was made in Brazil. And had a slight accident with the motor control unit on Albert Promenade when the wind blew the loop over. Martin Lynch was very forgiving. The QRP guys, all these little kits and things that they make, it's just fantastic. It's a whole different world, is QRP.
And you've got 91 band down there.
Complete antenna with the tuner unit already there in the middle of the. You see the BNC socket there, and you support the wires on either end. It's an end-fed. Sorry, it's an end-fed with a tuner unit rather than a band. There they are. Nice little thing. I rather liked that. End-fed half-wave, I believe, of some kind.
Is
40 meters, 40 to 10.
Richard.
I think there's I think so to do something similar.
Yeah, is that tuner fixed on that board?
Yeah. And they're polyvaricons.
Yeah, but it's not the 10 being remote unit or anything.
Yeah, and I noticed the resistors there. I think possibly a load. It's a tune load. I've never really studied it much. I'm just wondering whether that's a dummy load actually. But the ingenuity is phenomenal. Things that people do, and they've made a load of stuff. A load of stuff for the KX3. Right, here we are. These aren't in chronological order. I was there for 2 or 3 days, and you'll see similar things on different days. What I decided to do, I had my ticket, because the queue's about a mile long to get in, on about four wide. I had my ticket, And I'd been advised to go to the flea market first, where people just turn up with their gear. And so I didn't do the actual main place the first day. 30 minutes I got through to the flea market, because you dodge everything. This sort of stuff at the entrance was all, they take their raynet very seriously, MCOMs they call it, and they show big time when they MCOM 1.
With the hex beam.
Because you've got to remember that their country is very, very big. So in fact, whereas we're using 2 and 70, they're using 40 metres and 20 metres for these big link-ups. And we've got to the flea market. John's going to love this. It is unbelievable. I just could not get over it. What I should have done was what a friend, an acquaintance in Spain did. He got himself a container and bought things, sent it all to a container with FedEx, and then when the container's full, he ships it to Spain. Yeah. But this is the beginning of it. It's on a trotting track, you know, carts and trotting horses, and it's ram. Now, unless you are, there's a crossing point, and you can't walk across the crossing point. There's an electric buggy takes you from here to the church door, and you have to ride it. And they've got people taking you. When it rains, it certainly rains, and everything becomes extremely muddy. So it's a place to wear your boots. And this is just one little bit of it. And it stretches right down there, and it goes into aisles. And it's so big, there are people sitting in the grandstand watching over here. Look at the quality of the stuff. I mean, I happened to have one of these. But they were everywhere. We must have in the 1960s and 70s, Swan and Drake. You can see down one of the aisles there. Anything in this bin is $1. And to show you how big the bin is, I think the next one shows you the bin. And it's 1 of 10, because I counted it. Anything you like. The best thing I bought for $1, and the most useful I bought for $1, was a folding umbrella, because I needed it 5 minutes after I'd been here. Yeah. Oh, there she is. Look. And she takes you from here, where I'm standing, to that gate over there. Typical. It's beginning to rain.
Whoa!
Oh, look at that.
Whoa.
ICOM, Heathkit, Collycrafters, Collins.
Yeah.
What's that? Viking, is it? Viking Invader.
Looks like it, I can see it properly.
Yeah. And there's ALCN, the Bendix tuning unit at the top.
Yeah.
But this is everywhere. This stuff is everywhere. The go.
75A.
Yeah. This guy's asking for gear. He wanted to buy gear. NavyRadio.com, and he's got specials that he's looking for a museum. Out come all the sheets over everything, and you can see these here. People will come and they'll park their vehicles, and they're all book stands and numbered, and some of the people will actually sleep in the car and everything. They drive 400 or 500 miles. There you are, 72, 73. I mean, just this makes the new Canfest look small. There you go. Now, in the middle of the trotting track, there's a raised platform, which is where the starter starts the races and flags it on. And I go up into this area, and I'm standing there, and an American who's behind me at the time says, because I was facing back to this gentleman, and he says to me, "Hey, you got an English accent." He said, "Where are you from?" And I said, "I'm from England. He said, yeah, but whereabouts? You know, so I said, Halifax in the north. And this voice behind me says, I'm from Shipwell. He's a G4, and I said, I've been looking for a Collins KWM 2A. He said, I've got one in the attic. I haven't seen it for a long time. And I didn't get his call sign. He's a G4, that's all I can remember. But the bargain of my life, you'll see later on. But it's just amazing. It took a whole day to look at everything in this particular area, under the covers. But it's staggering. That's what I call a mobile antenna. This pin and hinges off the tow bar back down, and I think it hinges there as well. Oh, good evening. I'm just in time, sir.
I apologise.
Take a seat.
for disturbing your presentation.
It's all right. You can detention later. Now coming up very shortly. Oh, that's it from the other side. You can see there's another one on here like this. Now this character, this is a lovely man called Val, and he'd driven 700 miles or so, and all he did while I was there was sit there. And I said, "Can I take your picture? You're such a character." I said, "Sure thing." He said, "You're from England, right?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I want to thank you boys for the Second World War. We wouldn't have won it without you." I thought, that's a kick in the teeth. A point. He had a point. But he was and he just kept on and on about the Second World War and how wonderful the Brits were. And he's K9G Gol, Val, that's his name. And I've never forgotten him. On his jacket he's got Airstream, you know those silver bullet things. It wasn't there, but I only noticed that today when I... Ooh, John Sally, there's a better one coming, it's alright. That one's a bit grubby, there's a brown mark and some nicotine stains on the lid, so I wasn't having that.
It looks a bit off.
Is that the original flight case?
Pardon?
Is that the original?
It is, yes, it was a Samsung, they used a Samsonite case.
Yeah.
And it had the mobile. Now, you could buy this.
School bus.
No, it's a shack. It's completely kitted out. You could buy it with all the equipment, everything in it, the beds, cooking gear. It belonged to a club and it was for sale. And with proof needed, there it is at the back. I was tempted for about 10 seconds. Apparently they're a terrible ride. The suspensions are rubbish on those things. And that is what I call a filter, a cavity filter. Lord knows what frequency it is. It's probably about 14 megs. That's a filter and a half. But there was, oh that's right, yeah, it came complete with this bag at the bottom, which is a lumbar support. I think somebody's having a joke here. But there you are, that's that stand. Just explaining, this is the flea market at Dayton.
Right.
And I was up that tower there, right, where they started for the it's on this. The flea market is on a racetrack for trotting horses.
Do you have, as you pause for a small conversation there, do you recall how much the bus was?
No, I don't actually. I don't. I didn't get that. I'd say it was a fleeting moment of madness. There you can see it's rained, and that's why. Can you see? It was flooded the previous year. This is why they had the electric buggy to take you from there to there, because they didn't want 36,000 people tramping across the same gate. But military gear, as much as you want. They were doing a roaring trade, the military guys. As much wire as you want. Now I thought this was the Icon stand, and you'll see the joke later when you see what comes later. And they were queuing up and just buying boxes, and it's out of a trailer. And I thought, crumbs. it got, was it $7,300 for $989? Oh dear, where have we got to? There we are. And you can see them queuing to buy radios. This is the police. This is how you police the site as big as this. It goes up and down, and there's policemen in it, and there's cameras on the top, and lookouts and radio and all the rest of it. And it just goes up and down. I've never seen one of those before. There's a load of cameras and everything inside it as well as on top. Now then, this is a Motorola repeater. Motorola repeater, and it's not your 50-watt job or anything like that. The power amplifier is in the top there on the left-hand side. And I think I've got a close-up of it. That's the valve in the repeater. Probably something like a 4CX1000. And this capacitor, this disc capacitor here, can move in and out for tuning. I think RF power amplifier, I think it's, like the blue touch paper and stand back job, it's big. But this took a whole day. So now we're into the actual place itself, and they go big on youth. And these, they had a big section on robotics and children, young people, were building things. And they had a robotics challenge going. And look at how many parents' children they'd forced into doing this. And it says, first, learning never stops building upon itself, starting from 6, continuing through to middle and high school age up to 18. A robotic competition, Lego for the juniors. This is, it was a really good thing to watch. I love that. Everybody should have one of those. And I'm sorry I didn't buy one. You just have the, I thought, well, novice license holders would be insulted. Some G2s would be insulted.
I'd be quite happy with one.
Pardon?
Actually, I'd be quite happy with one. It's about right for me.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of fun. It's lovely. This is what they were building, these little robot things and moving them about. The Lego Juniors. Lots of manufactured people making, stands, very complex stands for your handy talkie and your scanner, and clubs. What's that one? I went up to the Straight Key Century Club and said, "Oh, what do you do to join? This." I'm a bit of a CW man, and what do you do to join? He said, "What's your call sign?" He tapped his computer, said, "You've been a member 15 years. I said, "Well, I haven't paid any subscription." He said, "No, it's free." So I think he's collecting a dying breed, Now, with your tickets, oh, hello, stranger. With your ticket at Dayton, every ticket is numbered, and you can win a prize, not once, but every hour, every day, right? And they're not chicken thief. There's FT991A there's a 7300, there's all these bags. The numbers come up, you can see them on this display. Trouble is you have to go every hour because you've won the prize, but it only lasts for an hour after you've won it, and then it's back in the draw again. And I couldn't get back fast enough every hour to see it. So I didn't. Do you want to come round?
I'm all right, though.
Can you see the back of my head all right?
Cuddling neater.
Okay. FT891 there. But these prizes are big. I mean, this is, makes us look like amateurs with a small aim. Drums of coax, rotators, everything. Anybody seen this guy on the internet? Radio show? Live, broadcasting live from Dayton. There were about 4 or 5 of these. Software defined radio was just beginning to make inroads into the thing. Was this Radio astronomers, they were there. Outside, it says boxcar steak sandwich. I didn't touch any of the food. I thought I might not see the rest of this. The man does have a whip on his head, and this was not uncommon. As much wire as you ever want to buy. Tar heel. This is Mr. Tar Heel. These some really exotic stuff that we never see. Look at that lot. It's inside. Some of them are transparent, and they're all different sizes, all different types. Long stand. Long stand. Oh, there you are. That's the innards of a tar heel with the motor in the bottom. And the slider coil, obviously. I do have a tar heel. It's a small one.
Baby one.
Pardon?
Baby tar heel.
Yeah, I've got a baby tar heel. I got it on eBay from a man who bought it, shipped it from the States. He wanted it on a balcony on a flat in Wales, but he didn't know what on earth was. And I got it for an absolute song. He said it didn't work. Bob Tanner. I'm not quite sure what that is. It's an SDR receiver, multi-frequency receiver. Never seen so many displays in all my life. Linux HP SDR. That's what it says on there.
It's every £100, isn't it?
Pardon?
It's almost every £100 there.
Yeah. Open HP SDR. It was the sort of talk of the thing. Now your Yaesu stand, they have a little corner at Newark. These are like recesses, and the gear and the displays were on 3 or 4 sides. So that's another one. That's what you're looking at there. Is on over there. And they don't have one of everything. There's an FTM400 actually there. One of everything. They duplicate it all so that more than one person at a time can actually look. And that was the new radio of the day in 2018, the 101D. And if you notice, it's inside a glass bubble. And as I was saying earlier on, when the manufacturers have a new radio, to psych your interest, they put it in a bubble, and they have some LEDs and a display in an empty box. And these bubbles are typically come from the Tokyo Hamfest. You see, that's where they go, and they're not the only manufacturers that does that. To it, there it is again.
So you can't touch it.
Was it the ultimate?
Big monster, isn't it?
Diamond antennas. I love diamond antennas. They're much copied by people. They had a big stand. They're probably the biggest mobile antenna seller in the USA, both for amateurs and commercial. There's a lot of stuff there that we don't see. This is quite common on a stand like this, because you can be queuing 4 and 5 deep to look at what's on the stand. They have these rotating displays. It's no good getting to the front of the queue after 20 minutes and find they haven't got one. It's whatever it is you want. So what they do is they haven't brought it with them. They put these up all round, and they rotate the displays. And when they've sold out something, they take that one off. This is a diamond antenna we don't see in the UK. I did actually get one. It's not a glass mount antenna. The 3M sticky pad goes onto the body of the vehicle, and that black plate sticks on the outside. It's a brilliant concept, but having worked in mobile, and I have that particular antenna as well, because the weight of it is at the base, and the collinear coil is an open pigtail. And it's one of the best antennas I've ever used. It was so good that somebody stole my other one in Tesco's car park at King Cross. And but the actual please can I have it back, John? One thing, if you ever do anything with a glass mount, my company installed over 1,000 mobile car phones back in the day, is that if you ever stick one of those pads on behind a metal plate like that, or a glass plate or whatever, silicon sealer the edges, because the water gets down the back and it will drop off eventually. So, but there was no silicon sealer in the pack, but I got that and I keep meaning to use it. The pink pig, you will see everywhere, this pink pig. I don't think it was the same person in it all the time, because I saw the pink pig kissing somebody. Whatever floats your boat. The food, the smell. You had to get through this particular. You find there are avenues, and then there are these bits in the middle, and that's where all the concessionary food is. And it's the mix of smell is so bad, you kind of get through it. You know. There goes the pig. Ham Talk Live. Expert linears. There's one for you, Greg.
Yeah.
You have this linear?
No, I've got the 1.3.
Oh, you got the 1.3.
Oh, the small one.
The baby one.
Yeah.
There's the 1.3, 1.5 and 2.
Some of the on-air stations, and they're encouraging young people to have a go. Of course, you can have a go. They're much more relaxed about third parties than we are, although we're getting better at it.
Well, I think you can within our rules now. I think
Yeah, but it's not. I mean, literally, they could walk away and leave that girl talking, you know, if they wanted. Just about. Icon.
7610.
76. That was the new rig of the day. Icon gave one away, just like you do. And software.
Similar.
That's the early software, I think.
Similar to the RSBA1.
Yeah. And
Yes.
everything comes with everything displays with them. This is Bengali, and the thing I did buy was a Bengali key. And the story to this is, you can see all these metal boxes. They've got oscillators and speakers in them, and because everybody queues up to show off, and they're all rattling, and you get all these conflicting call signs come. And I had to go at a few, and I wanted one, and I settled for a Bengali sculpture, which is roughly that one. It's not actually that one. Yeah, and I couldn't attract anybody's attention to sell me one. So I went round the corner here, picked up a key, and Mr. Bengali, I sent his call sign, and he turned immediately, and he came over to me, and I bought a key from him. But if you ever go to Dayton, do be careful, because each state has its own tax, like our VAT, and it's different everywhere. And I ended up coming home having saved 25 quid on the key. I thought I was doing well until they said, and the tax. And then, it was kind of the blue shirt that actually did the money exchange. And then he said, oh, pulled out the card, he said, we only take cash. So I had to, I had to sort of cobble up all my dollars and everything that I could find to bring it home. But I have it, and it's one of my favourite keys. And when I do my most stories, you'll hear that story again. Yeah. But it's, when you buy them, they're a piece of art, and they come with a bag and certificates and numbers and all the rest of it. Yeah. Don't you just love those mobile antennas?
Yeah, brilliant antenna.
You see the whip on the front? That's a whole new meaning to the expression, have a whip round. Still Bengali. Yeah. Sun, is it sun that?
Thanks.
No.
Flex.
Flex, yeah?
Pardon?
Flex.
Yes, it's Flex Radio. So the models have changed since then. Yeah, the Flex Radio. They're still something of a niche market, but getting better. This is the RSGB stand. They have to be forgiven for this stand because they have to carry everything in their bags. They're opposite the ARRL. These are all different holes that these are in this stuff. It's not one big place. They're like cattle sheds. And I do think they could have dressed them for the occasion. That's Mark Algar, the marketing manager. They go every year. More mobile antennas. That's quite a nice setup, that one.
It's a tight link.
Yeah, they're just behind this yellow. The RSTB is just on the side of that yellow sheet there. You know, ARRL is quite a long stand. The Japan Radio League will keep sending me cards. A little bit dark here, but this is a set of filters for what looks like a 2 metre or 70 cent repeater. But you can buy all this, you know, off the shelf, basically. This is the deputy sheriff. I spoke to him, and he'd been doing this sheriffing at Dayton for about 3 or 4 years, and he liked it so much he's now got a licence. And he volunteers. He says, I volunteer for this and I get paid. Yeah, deputy sheriff. Kenwood.
DX Engineering.
This U shape here is DX Engineering. You've seen adverts for DX Engineering. Met some of the guys in the hotel. They're really nice guys. And their stands going down. That's the other side. And they stand there with order pads and just write you up. You know, you come and say what you want, and they write you up. And that's how the expression they use. And they have these pads, and then they get it all out the van. That's just a private deal, R&L Electronics. Stacked, yeah. I mean, having done shows in this country, I used to do 14 rallies a year, and that is a lot of work to get that lot on that stand. And if you don't sell it, it's an awful lot of work to take it home. Kenwood, very minimalist, very upmarket, very professional. I think they borrowed this from another division of Kenwood, actually. Again, it's a U shape, very minimalist, very classy. Have you noticed people are just absolutely crowded to see it? Oh, they're really busy. But yeah, Kenwood. They're not there to sell anything. They're just there to, you know, to talk to you, basically. I love this. I couldn't resist that.
Nutter Centre.
Wright State University Nutter Centre. I'll show you a nutter later on. And if you notice there, Wright Pat Credit Union, another Wright name. It's a shame it doesn't say Wright Pratt. At the Nutter Centre of the university. But it could also say Pratt, Wright and Whitney. I don't know where we are with this one, that's just a random bit of gubbins. I think we're back in at night now, yeah, with all these wonderful little gadgets that the guys make from the QRP clubs. It's a detector of some kind. Oh, it's in a VSWR bridge of some kind. Yeah, Buildathon, that's what they were building. Yeah, that's what they were building in the Buildathon. And back in the hotel. QRP directional watt meter. You sign up, pay, and they build the lot. And when it doesn't work, they mend it for you. That is just a brief snapshot of where I walked in, the gates here.
Oh, I thought you were admiring the loos there.
It's Welsh, yeah.
Yeah, well, they got a lot of use. I avoided them. You could tell they were loose at 100 yards.
Once people don't leave the doors open, it's really bizarre. You think when you come out of one of those, you always leave the door open, not closed. Why leave the door closed?
I think they're always full, actually. It's never open.
They don't ventilate with the door closed. I don't get it. I don't understand that.
This is just a small area of a car park. There are about 7 of these. And if you notice the buses, they're taking people to the other car parks further away, 1 and 2 miles away.
So it's like going to the airport.
No, that's a long way away.
I mean a generic. Sorry.
Shuttle bus.
Now, this is my favourite of all time. Now, what the hell's a gun magnet? Well, I'll tell you what a gun magnet is. A lot of preppers, there's a lot of prepping stuff, obviously. So I don't have a door, but never mind. Pretend I'm standing in it. So you come to my door whenever you want to rent. I lean on the door like this. You want to rent. So he pulls, he threatens you, he pulls the gun, and you lift your 45 Magnum off the gun and say, I'll pay you Friday, go away. And that's what a gun magnet. If you look at the little picture there, can you see the door and the
magnet, yeah.
$20 insurance. Their version of the British Legion, Veterans Association. As you know, the Americans are very hot on veterans. I don't quite know what that is. I think it's 3D printing. The first time I'd ever seen any 3D printing. Yes, it is. Weird and wacky things for sale. Now, it took me a while to work this out.
Yeah.
I think this lady got bored. She didn't sell anything, but it says on the back porch, and then it says tailgating, and I thought, I'm not sitting in one of those on the M1. Tailgate. You hang it on the tailgate of your RV. That's what it's for. It's basically a rocking chair swing thing.
When you went,
Don't you just want one of those?
Yeah.
It looks like 6 meters and 20, I think.
Yeah.
garden.
I want to know if there's a hole in the floor that goes down. Holsters. The radio holsters are on the left and the gun holsters are on the right.
It can be very embarrassing if you get confused.
Yeah. Open research. Now, this is another intriguing device, a saltwater battery. When the Armageddon comes, you dip this thing in the salt water. Actually, it shuts, and you pour salt water in. And the lady on the stand says, everyone should have one. I said, I live 80 miles from the sea. Where am I going to find the salt water? When the 4-minute warning comes. But there's loads of stuff like this for preppers. I could think of another source of salt water. I like these badges. There's one on the top, and it says, did you see that curved one? I don't know if you can read it from there. It says, dysfunctional veteran, leave me alone.
That's one for me. Yeah.
Besides all the gear and everything, the things like the ARRL annual general meeting, there are lectures and talks going on actually on the site. It is, by the way, they have these state fairs like our Harrogate Showground. That's what it actually is at the place, at Green County. So the Collins Collectors. Wake up, John.
Yeah,
it's coming. It's coming.
Oh.
Beautiful stuff.
Excellent.
Long before we had any leeway to let everybody use the radio, you'll have heard the expression Mars radio. That's frequencies outside for the military on radio. Local telephone calls have always been free in America, and that's the linear, that's the transceiver. That thing at the top is a phone patch.
Patchy.
A phone patch.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I used to listen to people calling from, you know, the USS Robert Kennedy and all these places, and they'd get a patch in, and the operator on the ship would call for anyone in Cleveland, anyone in New York, Massachusetts, anywhere. And then he'd ring they'd give the toll-free number, as they call it, and they'd ring it up, put it on, click the switch, and that's it. You can just talk to your loved ones in the. Whoops, I don't know how that's going to. Go away.
Whoa!
I don't want to make notes right now.
Can we go big?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. So that was. Look at that thing. That motor unit.
Antenna.
It's an arrow antenna that's on there for satellite. And Libra Space Foundation, some sort of experimental group, or showing their bits and pieces. Amateur radio. Okay. Yeah, it was, and it was whizzing around, taking people's eyes out. Just a shot to show you how full it gets, especially when it rains. More Kenwood on it.
No, that's presumably.
Ellicraft, they were showing their new 500 watt solid state linear, and they were also showing they developed this. That's the remote head for a KX3 or a K3 or a K4. They were very early on into producing a complete remote head that you could take with you and leave the radio at home. How many they've ever sold, I don't know, because Ellicraft's got a bit of a checkered career at the moment. Remote over the internet, full-time radio control with knobs. You were having a dig at the STR guys. I suppose that means something slightly different in this country, where with knobs on. Very nice setup. It was the favourite contest rig of the day until obviously new stuff's come along. That's a very expensive little antenna, and it only does 2 bands. I think it's more of a gimmick. It was for the KX3, and in order to allow the BNC to stand up straight, it's got a leg. It's got a leg there, so that the BNC doesn't let the arrow fall over. But again, quite expensive. Aircraft stand. You can see it goes right down there. Now we get to MFJ. Made from junk. Made from junk. It puzzles me why the Americans make good insides for gear, but lousy boxes. Just sheet metal boxes, you know, with no style. I suppose it's like the old British motorcycles, and the Japanese come along and it's got flair and design and all the rest of it. It's functional. Because sadly MFJ is no more. Was it this year it's stopped? But there's a lot of their stuff around. Yeah, study mode. It's HADARS on speed. Study courses online and all that. Step IR. Keep thinking about a vertical from there. And that is
Flex again.
Flex is it? Yeah, again. Hamvention swag kit. That's only free stuff. You just register. I told you there were some nutters, and this is this guy. When I wrote the review for the magazine, this guy appeared on the front cover of Practical Hours. He was a happy chappy. Wait till you see the back of his t-shirt. Buddy pole. They're selling porta boxes and things like that. That's what Cola rotator. Azimuth and Alleyway. Company is what? Green Heron Engineering. remote station operation. This is a Luso. Anybody seen a Luso tower? Can you remember the Luso tower?
Yeah.
The Japanese.
So Newark.
Go on. The RSTB got one, and in the end they sold it. Or Peter Kirby sold it off cheap because they couldn't get permission to use it. Luso brought it from Germany. This Japanese. They brought it to the Newark Hamfest, and I've never seen such heavy engineering in all my life. Fabulous tower, and they didn't want to take it back to Japan, so the RSCB bought it cheap with a view to having it at Bletchley Park, but Bletchley Park wouldn't allow it in the end, and so it got sold. This cage thing, that blue bit, the reason I tick this is you can see how long it is. You stand on that, press the button, and you go up to the antenna.
Well, there's a little gantry at the top too.
That's correct. That's the winding gear.
Yeah.
That's the winding gear for. There is a video. I don't know if it's still on. Still on there. If you look at Luso Towers, and they put a glass of wine onto the platform and a camera, and they wind it all up to the top, and it doesn't spill. Go and have a look for that sometime. That's the tower.
That's it.
Look at that engineering. Sorry, David isn't here because he loved that.
$575.
Pardon?
$575.
Just for the bearing.
That's the mast bearing.
Yeah.
You can buy a radio for that. SDR play, which we've all seen those at in the UK. Oh, what happened there? This is the Yesu Hall. It's not the corner, it's over stand, it the Yesu Hall. So back to Diamond again. More food. Equalizers, microphones,
Yeah, I've got
modifications.
I've got all his gear.
I've had email conversations with this guy over the years. I love that one. That's a magazine. Nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, I've got a couple of things on the internet.
There's my friend on the right hand side. This is North California. This is a lovely chap. He used to come to GQRP. You recognise the face, Martin? American. A lovely man. I'm afraid he's passed away.
Side view.
Yeah.
I recognise the bloke on the right.
Well, that's Dennis. That's Dennis, Mr. Kanga, and those are the people I showed you earlier. I couldn't resist. I couldn't resist going back.
AR-88.
That's just the back of a U-Haul truck stuffed with. Now, if you're doing any surface mount work,
Yeah, that's what you need.
don't buy these.
That's true.
Yes, you mount a whole surface with those.
I think one of them's a gas iron actually. And have you noticed the lovely? Have you noticed the lovely plug on the end of that one? I couldn't resist a picture of that. Well, there's the police again in their tower, halfway down now. I think it was round about now, around about this time, there was a huge message over the tannery. Move inside, danger of death. Move inside, danger of death. You think, what the heck's going on?
Storm.
You get inside and it's a tornado coming through nearby, and the thunder and lightning, and these are metal sheds, and it's so bad inside these metal sheds that you can't hit, and they're going like this, and as soon as it arrived it was gone. I thought the Lord was calling me there that day.
Wow.
Pass.
TV one stands.
Monitor stands on them.
Well,
That,
there we go.
now
That's what we
that
want.
is the radio. I
Yeah.
should have brought one. The guy wanted $1,000 for it, and it's absolutely neat. And it's got the mobile power unit on the back. You can buy a base station power unit and the travel power unit. And as you said, it's in the original Samsonite case.
Yeah.
$1,000. I could kick myself for not buying that, but of course I had to catch a plane to Florida. Wait till you see the inside, John.
Oh,
Good Lord.
Yeah.
beautiful.
50-year-old piece of kit.
Yeah.
Finally, the Rolls Royce,
Yeah,
and it looks like that. I think he's had it in an ultrasonic bath.
It does look good, doesn't it? Yeah.
It's just unbelievably
Absolutely,
good.
yeah. Like it come from the factory.
Oh yeah, factory
Yeah.
fresh. I mean, even if you look at this wiring down here, look,
Yeah.
White. That's good.
I think
Wide.
the whole thing had been refurbished, and I toyed with it, and forever and a day I'll regret I didn't take that. It was in the Samsonite case. I could have got it on the plane. I could have left it at my son's house.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it would have been quite a charge though, because it would be rather heavy. I think it would double your.
Well, I was only flying
allowance,
internally. I was only going to have to go to Florida with it,
Right.
but it worked for a company that could have shipped it back to me. Oh, there's the pink pig again. May the good DX be with you, or be yours. This, I think, is the ice cream stand. That is, and the guy in the middle is Chris Danby. He organises the Hamfest at Newark, and he's looking rather strangely at that burger. I'm not sure he ate it. It's very black, and I'm not sure he actually ate it. I've known Chris a long time. You'll see his name in Radcom. He does all the advertising for Radcom. That's where we actually are, Green County Fairground. More MCOM, as I say, they go for it in a big way. That's the layout of the actual place, and you can see that trotting track and all the different halls and stands and lecture theatres. Sorry, I flicked that. Hustler antennas. I have a full selection of hustlers at home. I just need a card strong enough to take them. They're interesting antennas. If you might say, why do they have the little coils and the big coils? The Q of a coil of about 2 inches in diameter is probably the most efficient. If you go too big, the Q goes and the quality of it, and they're just kind of lightweights. And these are all rated at around about a couple of kilowatts, the big ones. The Ameritron, beautiful inside, but couldn't they make a decent case? Beautiful construction. You don't often get to see this. And what I couldn't understand in the first instance was all the valves and everything was lit up, so I kept my hands out of the way. I'll show you. Can you see these valves are lit up? What I didn't know, these are dummy valves and they're LEDs at the bottom. But it makes a very impressive show when you look down the line.
You're probably wise to get your hands out of the way, because you might see it the next time and think it's LEDs and really it's not.
Well,
so, that could be awfully embarrassing.
I photographed this purely and simply for that bracket. It's like a cobweb or your TZZ antenna or whatever. A very interesting bracket. I thought that's how you're holding these fiberglass fibers, but the antenna that it's supporting got even more interesting. If you imagine your cobweb or your spider beam, that's linear loading. So they're taking this, it's called Apache, something, some models call the Apache. It's linear loading, so they're actually getting a cobweb or spider beam type device onto 40 meters. And there's some with 80 meters. Yeah, because in a linear loading system, everything is radiating, other than a trap, different to a trap system, where only part of it is radiating. So everything's radiating, and but it was a fierce price. I think it was about $950. Notice a box on the back there, the centre, right up the back of the antenna. Whoops, there. That was interesting because, unlike your average antenna that we have here, this one will switch out the unwanted the unwanted wires, and the whole thing is tuned to take account of the proximity of the others. So this is where the price comes in. I've never seen it much ever since, but I just thought that linear loading was a very interesting concept, and this is their big outside one, which is actually covering 80 metres.
It's an X-beam with the loading.
But you can see that, yeah. The other one, I think, is omnidirectional, like a cobweb.
That's a beam, 2 element.
I'm just testing out my zoom lens on my little camera, and you begin to see how big those linear loads are. This is just portable boxes, pelly case type stuff. Back to the Children's Robot Challenge. Here's the man. Here's the man that designed your 990 and my TS890. And again, they're showing in a glass box the TS890 because it's brand new.
Or if you designed it, wouldn't you want it in a glass
Pardon?
box? If you designed it, wouldn't you want it in a glass box?
Well, I've got one at home,
Maybe
it's not in a glass box.
Yeah, but you didn't design it.
Oh, no.
Right.
Well, you see, I said earlier, because they tend not to be working models at this stage. They're just
You don't have
gathering
hordes of
gathering
people.
your interest. It's like launching a new car, isn't it? Concept.
You don't have hordes of people coming from the food hall to paw at it.
Absolutely.
Exactly, yeah. Do you know what his name is?
I did know his name. I shook his hand.
It doesn't matter.
His name is. I've got his name at home somewhere. But, I think he's actually retired now. But I would say, without question, it is the best CW rig I've ever used, and for a conventional up conversion design, not an SDR. It is the best radio I've ever owned. It is just wonderful, and that's what I typically use on the club contest. And it is just a wonderful thing. There we go. That's a close-up of it. That's as near as you could get. The concept of Kenwood equipment, unlike Yaesu and Icon, is everything is on the front panel that you need to use the radio in the traditional style. So there's no dashing into menus or anything like that. The menus are there, don't get me wrong, but when you're operating, it's there. And that's what I like, and that's real, to me, is real radio. And I really do rate this radio. Greg, as most of you know, I've got the new IC 7760 like Greg has, and the other radios can go, but that ain't going anywhere.
My 990 won't go.
Yeah, more car parks, more people. Back to the Nutter Centre. Very, very hot. We're following a mobile truck, aren't we? I'm like, oh, more income. And today is really, really rainy. There's our friend the Nutter. Never left. It just says, I'll have to look at this actually.
Zoom in.
Can you read it? Politically incorrect. I say Merry Christmas, God bless America.
Yeah, right.
And then it says something about guns and flags and troops on the back.
There's a Trump fan.
Yeah, although, I'll tell you a story about that. This weekend, when I was there, you just reminded me, Trump was in the ascendancy and Harry and Meghan were getting married in the UK. And there was a guy with a MAGA hat on, and I said, he said, make America great again. And I said to him, will Donald Trump make America great again? He said, sure will. And as I turned to walk away, he said, will Megan make your country great again? And quick as a flash, I turned around and said to him, it already is, it's in the name. I didn't know whether he was going to kiss me or thump me, so I ran. Long live Great Britain. Pass. That's the other end of the line of the Americans. And you can stick your fingers in all that. Ended up, the show ended up at the back of the hotel with a dinner, And it said on the ticket, dress for dinner. So I dressed for dinner.
And you
The
went
conversion of dress for dinner is that.
There's not a bow tie to be seen. Is it?
Well, I hadn't.
How
My dinner
inappropriate
suit-
is that?
My dinner suit was at cleaners, but I had a jacket and tie. They lasted 5 minutes and ended up in the back of a chair. And they were giving prizes away again, more prizes, and I won one.
Good for you. Was it food?
Well, I didn't win the KX3 or the Bengali key because Mr. Begali's sitting on another table. I won a 3.5mm jack lead, that one.
Oh, yeah,
And I've still got it.
Well done.
It was actually a Bengali lead, and it had spade connectors on the end for connected to a key. But yeah, they gave away a KX3. And this is the end of the show, you'll be relieved to know. And this is the next show. This is where I will, you can all wake up now. When we have another infield night, I'll take you to the most amazing aircraft museum you'll ever likely see in your life. The United States Air Force Museum is in Dayton, Ohio. Of course, the birthplace of the Wright brothers. And you'll have to suffer that another night. Thank you very much.
We really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Don't forget to check the video description where you'll find additional information about the video you've just watched, along with links to products used and to the HADARS website. If you enjoyed this presentation, please feel free to hit that like button. Maybe you'd also consider subscribing and clicking the notification bell so we can let you know the next time we release another video. Thanks again for watching.